Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment. I'm Lenora,
And I'm Dee.
and we're coming to you today in regards to everything entertainment. So I am not sure which side you were on because I'm looking at you that way, but maybe it will look the
Yeah, it's
other
that way. It's that way. Whatever way you play the song, it's that way. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
it's
I'm
opposite.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
and I'm
this
the
way.
other way.
Yeah.
For me, yep, that's the way I see you, is the other way. So it's kind of wild. But anywho, welcome everybody. For those of you who don't know, we are also going to have this on YouTube. So the podcast will be there if you want to see all our antics and shenanigans. I am in a room that is pretty empty because it's going to be my new office. So I have a nice bookshelf and things on the way. But if I sound echoey, I apologize. I don't know if I do or I don't, but hopefully I don't. On that note, we're going to go ahead and get started talking about the wonderful world of everything regarding this week's shows that I've been watching, which is Widow's Bay on Apple. So I'm going to start first. And so Widow's Bay is interesting because from the way that they wrote it, it is a horror comedy, I believe is what they're calling it, which is an interesting genre that I have not been familiar with before. Have you ever heard of a horror comedy?
I feel like that would be like that one that Nicolas Cage is in, and like something that is like it's supposed to be scary, but it's got funny parts in it. That's really not. It's not really scary. It's more comedic than scary, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the part that I'm realizing with this. Because at first I've started looking at it and I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this because I'm not a horror person. But it was such funny elements to it, and the way people were acting was so quirky that I was like, I think I have to continue to watch this. But anyway, the show has Matthew Rice, or Reese, I don't know how he pronounces it, but he's Tom Loftus on here. And you know him from different shows like The Americans. That's where I knew him from, as one of the main characters on that. But he's been on a ton of different things. He's a Welsh actor. He's been everywhere. And you never know that he's not American because he always plays an American accent. So it's kind of crazy because the other one, he was playing a Russian, but with an American accent, right? Okay, so then you have his son is Kingston, and his real name is Kingston Rumi, and he is Evan Loftus, so that's his son. You have Stephen Root as Wick on here, and so Stephen Root is somebody that was in Office Space. He was in Barry. He's been in news radio. Like, he's been on a lot of things where you look at his face and you're like, oh, that guy from that show. And you just know who he is. Yeah. You have Dale Dickey. She plays Rosemary. And you know her too as that person with the raspy voice who's always smoking a cigarette and just is that person. She was in Bloodline. She was in oh, what else? Well, probably no one really remembers My Name is Earl, but she was in that show. She's been in a lot of different things, but when you see her and you are like, oh yeah, I know that lady. I see her and everything. And it's like, she always reminds me of that woman who lives in Florida that has been in the sun too long.
Oh, yeah.
Just very wrinkly. And you're like, how old is she really? Is she really as old as she looks? Or is it just because of the fact that she's just, done some things, kind of situation. You have Patricia in the show, who's played by Kate O'Flynn, and she is a fun character to have there as well. And then I'll just go into Stephen Carroll. You know him from a lot of things as well. He is Belcher on there, so he's pretty cool an actor on here. I'm just like, I'm laughing at the people as I'm looking at the people. But anyway, and so that's kind of the main cast, right? So the thing about this is you have Tom Loftus. And so Tom is like the mayor of Widow's Bay. And so what you start to realize as you're watching this is that something's not quite right with Widow's Bay. You don't know exactly what's wrong with it, but you just know that some weird things happen. Like, there's a house that nobody really goes to because there's a terrible, tragic story that's attached to it. There is the founder of Widow's Bay, who his whole family died in the ocean. And so there's a situation in which oh, you don't want to, go out into the water because a whole family died out there. Even in one of the hotels, they have a portrait of a family in the water and this baby floating, looking like it's about to drown. And you're like, why in the world would somebody have a portrait? But that's the quirky stuff that happens on here, right? So you have Tom, and his whole mission is like, we need to make Widow's Bay the next Martha's Vineyard. And everybody is like, have you lived in Widow's Bay? Like, no, we are not Martha's Vineyard. And oh, by the way, some weird stuff happens here, like some very bad, tragic, crazy stuff happens here. And do you want to bring strangers here to experience that? And so he's like, no, I don't believe it. I don't think that's true. All those rumors. Why are y'all believing all these rumors? Right. So there are a lot of different scenarios that come up where, like, for example, they were like, oh, you want people to stay in the hotels? You stay in the hotel. You stay in the most haunted hotel of Widow's Bay for one night. Just stay. And he was like, that's no problem. I can do this. It's fine. No biggie. So he goes and he takes this thing, and the guy, the innkeeper, is like, oh no, I would never stay here, like ever in life. Like, yeah, I own the building, but no, not staying. So here's the key. You have fun. I'm going to my house and enjoy because nobody else is here. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever. Now, I don't know if he told him that no one else is here or not, but he was just like, okay, whatever. So then he's there and he's like hearing every creak, every sound, every noise, like the whole 9 yards. And you're just like, okay, are you just so infatuated with getting this to be like Martha's Vineyard that you're just like, I do believe in all of the bad things that I've heard, but I can't admit that I believe it because I really want this to blow up. And if I admit it, then, that's not true. So he had to record everything that he did that particular night. Well, all of a sudden this guy shows up and he's like, hey, you want to go get a drink downstairs? I'm staying here too, next door. And he was like, oh, sure, no problem. Goes downstairs, has a drink with the guy, plays cards, does, little games and stuff. Next morning, he's like, everything was fine. Me and the guy had a great time. And the shopkeeper was like, who's the guy? And he was like, the guy who was staying here. And he was like, you were the only person in here. What are you talking about? And they go back and then they show the video from like the top, like the video cam. Nobody's there. Who he thought he saw is a person who was like a mass murderer in that area years and years ago who was no longer living. So it's like, and then like he had this one experience where, and that guy used to dress up like a clown. And so, and everybody knows that people have fears of clowns and stuff. So he had to go through this crawl space because they're like, and when you're there, go through the crawl space of this little place in the da-da-da. And while he was in there was when this clown started running and chasing after me. It was scary. Like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it because it was the creepiest, scariest thing. And then he like wakes up and it's the morning and he's like, oh, everything was fine. And you're like, did he really experience that or did he not experience that? And if he did experience it, was it that the clown really was there as a thing that got him back to the bed? I don't know how it all happened. I have no idea. So then you have people like Patricia, who she's just weird and quirky. And she's just like, well, I just remember back in the 80s when we were in high school, and what ended up happening is that the mass murderer almost got me. Like, he literally almost got me. And everybody's like, why are you still telling that story now? It has been eons ago that you even supposedly lived through that. And like the mean girls are like, yeah, okay, Patricia, we believe that this happened to you. And then they go and giggle and talk about her and stuff like that. And so you're like, is she telling the truth or isn't she? Or is that like her only claim to fame because she's a loner and she doesn't really talk to people? And so she just going with the motion. But her and Tom work very closely together, as well as Wick, who Wick doesn't believe in anything that Tom is trying to do. He's trying to tell him, no, don't do it. This island kills people. Like, don't do it. And, of course, Tom's like, we're here. Like, everything's fine. And he was like, have you left with your son? And then you could see this look on Tom's face. And you're like, why is he giving him that look? And I won't give any hints, but of what that means. But like, there's some things that go on when people try to leave. When people try to leave, things happen. And it's been on different occasions. And so what they are realizing is that the island is cursed. And if you are born on that island, you basically absorb the curse.
Mm.
And so different things happen. There's bells that toll that means something. There's the water that means something. There's a hag. Like, you know how they talk about the witch's hag that it'll lay on your chest and you can't move and all that kind of stuff. There's one of those kind of scenarios that happens. It's the clown thing that, you know, what's real, what's not real kind of. It's so much packed into like 9 or 10 episodes.
I want to watch it.
Oh my gosh. It's like it kept me enthralled the whole time, and it finally is over. Like the season is over.
How many
And
episodes?
it's open enough that you know that they'll probably want to do a season 2 because it's like so many. They answered some questions, but they haven't answered a lot. They haven't answered a lot of questions. And so based on that, it's like, okay, what are they going to go with and do for season 2? And it was one of those shows, and this doesn't happen to me often, that when they drip it out, you know, because it was like every episode on Apple, I was there for it. Like I was like, oh yeah, it got dropped tonight. I'm watching it tonight. Like that's how I was with it. So when the finale dropped on Wednesday night, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to bed until I watch this Wednesday night because I got to know some answers. And they didn't give you a lot, but it was definitely. Sorry, I'm just thinking about the finale. At one point, they all were like, it was a tornado or like a hurricane or something coming through, and they were all in this basement. And this one guy who was just the calmest, sweetest person, they ended up saying, "Hey, can you go find some games or something to kind of keep everybody entertained? Because we're all like trying to stay in this basement." And so he was like, "Sure." So he stumbled across some movie reels. And so he starts watching the movie reels. And in the process of watching the movie reels, he thought he could put on a movie, but he was realizing it was more like a tutorial for Widow's Bay and you being in Widow's Bay and just some things. I'll leave it at that. And so he came out of that room when they finally it calmed everybody down and was like, look, y'all, we're not going to fight each other. Like, we just got to make it through the night. Like, it's going to be okay, whatever. He runs out and he was like, everybody leave. He just goes, and that's just the one thing that just like hit me. It was like he was calm the entire show. And then that moment, he was just like, oh, heck no. Like, run for your lives. Like, that's basically what happened. Oh my God. Anyway, so Widow's Bay, I personally really, really enjoyed it. It is, like I said, a horror comedy where it had creepy things happen where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep watching this. But then it also had things that were like, oh my God, that is so freaking comical. But it was like a drama too. It just had it all wrapped up in there. And I'll just leave it at that. So on Apple.
Okay, so the episodes aren't that long, so they're like 40 minutes.
Yeah, one of them ended so fast I got mad because it was like 35 minutes or 38 minutes. And when it went dark and they were like showing the credits, I said, wait.
Yeah, it's 31 minutes. 31 minutes.
I looked at my phone. I said, oh, I know that they did not do this. And the other thing is they almost faked me out where I thought episode 8 was the last episode because of how it ended. I said, oh, it's going to end in 8 episodes. So the way that episode ended, I was like, oh, it's over till next season. And then I got the alert the next Wednesday, like, oh, the new episode dropped. And I was like, oh, it was like Christmas. I was so excited. So I was like, okay, yes, I get to watch another episode. I thought it was over. So that kind of closed a little bit more of it with a little, bow. So on that note,
okay.
What do you have, sis?
So what I have is on Netflix, it's a documentary. It's called Maternal Instinct.
Oh, okay.
No maternal instinct from this woman. So it's about a woman who lies to her new boyfriend and his family and some of her friends about her being pregnant. Mm-hmm. But then she actually takes the baby out of this lady who she befriends' womb.
Oh my gosh. And this is a real story.
This is real life.
Oh my goodness.
This is Texarkana. This is Texas and Arkansas. It's all in that little area.
Mm-hmm.
It I watched it. So I heard about this before because it was, I saw clips on, I don't know if it was on like YouTube or something like that, of the police officers being like, where'd the baby come from? Because that's how it starts off. It starts off with her getting pulled over. The lady's driving a car. She gets pulled over. But then you're hearing a recording of her being like, oh my God, like I'm on the way to the hospital. I just gave birth and I have my baby and my baby's not breathing. I'm trying to get to the hospital, but there's a state trooper behind me. And they're like, well, ma'am, just go ahead and pull over. The state trooper will be able to help you. She's sitting in the car. She was like, I just gave birth on the side of the highway. And now my baby's not breathing. She took the baby, the umbilical cord, and the amniotics, not the amniotic sac, but the placenta. She took all of that. She took everything out of this woman.
So that she could fake that it was hers, because how else? But wouldn't she know that they would want to check her out and make sure she's okay?
I don't think she was thinking that far, because I think she was researching how to do a C-section. First of all, to do a C-section, let's go to the hospital. Step 1. Step 2, the doctor does it. That's it. That's the only 2 steps that any human being should do for a C-section.
Well, and if you're having a baby on the side of the road, you're not having a C-section.
Yeah, but she Googles that so she can cut the baby out. But she didn't realize the baby was due like in the next couple of days, and she cuts the baby out of the woman. And this is a woman who she befriends. She was at their house the night before.
Knowing she's going to kill this lady.
Knowing she's going to kill this baby and take the baby from this lady. And when she took out everything, because she'd been Googling C-sections, when she took out everything, she didn't realize that the baby is out and the baby can't breathe, because there's like, you took the baby out before you took the baby out the oven before the oven was even preheated or whatever.
Right.
Like,
the baby wasn't ready. So the baby hadn't gone through the process of getting its lungs together.
So that's why the baby was not breathing. So you see her, she's sitting there, she's shaking, she's like on her phone, and she's like, no, I'm talking to the police officer, blah, 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 blah. And she's holding the baby in her hand, and she's supposed to be driving. But she has the baby here, and you hear the trooper like, yeah, she got the baby's out in her hand, she got the umbilical cord still attached, placenta, like everything. And then they get her to the hospital. But as they get her to the hospital, they're asking her questions. They're like, so you just had the baby on the side of the road? She's like, yeah. She's all shaking and everything. And it's like, you got on pajama pants. You ain't got no blood nowhere, no nothing. You're dry, but you just had this baby on the side of the road. And you're going to the hospital to meet your husband because baby's not breathing.
You ain't sweaty, nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. So it goes into, from there they have her at the hospital, and then it goes like, this is the very, very beginning. Then the was it OFBI or something like that, some officer, he comes and he's asking questions. He's like, all right, so you just had the baby on the side of the highway? She was like, yeah. He was like, so when the doctor comes and checks you, it's going to show that you had a baby. And she was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, because they could tell. Like, as soon as he's a few seconds, they look down there, they'll be able to know. And she's like, okay. He's like, so you had the baby? She was like, that's my baby. That's what she said. It's my baby. And I was like, oh, she said it's my baby. She didn't say that, yes, I did just pop out the baby. So I was like, oh, okay. Now she's starting to rethink it. Now she can't keep saying I had the baby, because now the doctor's coming. The doctor comes in. He's like, that lady ain't have no baby. There's no thing. He walks out of the room and was like, yeah, no, she ain't have no baby. There's no way possible. And they go and arrest her right then and there. Her husband, her future husband, boyfriend of like, I don't know, after a month of them being together, she says she's pregnant, but that's a whole nother thing. But he shows up, and then they're pulling him to the side and asking questions, and they're just like, yeah, so she just killed a woman and stole the baby. He said, wait, what? Like, wait, no, she told me she was pregnant. I was like, no, she was never pregnant. He was like, everything that my family told me was right. So then it goes from the end of it to the beginning of you and getting to know the people. So who the people are, who the lady is. Her name is Taylor. What is it? Taylor Parker. Now Taylor Parker is somebody who likes a lot of attention. She gets with this dude named Wade Griffin because he works in the rodeo. She's like, I want him. So she gets with him after a month. They're living together. She goes and claims that her grandparents own some oil refineries and she has all this money with her family and blah, 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 blah. So she starts looking for, I guess because Wade was starting to pull away, she starts looking for, like, she's like, let's go buy you a truck. Let's buy your mom a car. Let's go and, what was it? Let's go and look at some properties that you want. He's like, oh, there's this place in I think it was Arkansas. That's, it's called this, and I want to go look at it. It was like 400 and some acres. She does this whole big PowerPoint presentation for the entire family to show him everything that she's getting for all of them and everything. She buys his mom a house. I'm in a car. Buys a little Nissan and everything. She's trying to do anything and everything to get in the family. Then as Wade pulls, then she starts saying that, oh no, my mom's in the picture. My mom's taking all the money away from me. And my grandmother is now on her side. So now I can't get any of the money. Then she goes, well, my uncle's going to help me put a down payment on this. So then that way later on, I'll be able to have some money to do this. So it's just lie after lie after lie after lie. Now, his best friend's wife was like, something's a little off about this because she's telling me that she's pregnant, but she must not have any friends because she's telling me everything that she wants to do. I want you to help me with getting the baby shower together, the gender reveal together. I want you to help me with that. And I want you to help me with this. She was like, she can't have any friends. I just met this chick a month ago and now I'm doing all this. Like, where's all this coming from? So she gets suspicious first. And she's like, oh yeah, like something's not right. She goes down a rabbit hole online. The mother was like, I just didn't like her. So therefore a mother knows. And I told my son, don't do it. He ain't listen. So basically this is where we are now. She ends up being a photographer. Taylor ends up being a photographer. And she goes and takes pictures of weddings, of gender reveals, of birthday parties. She takes pictures of all of this stuff. And that's when she meets the girl, Reagan. So she meets Reagan at her taking pictures for her wedding. Then they kind of become friends. Then, as this is like maybe a year or so later, when she goes and tells Wade that she's pregnant without knowing, she goes to a chiropractor, a lady in the town who's a chiropractor, and was like, hey, how can you talk to my body as if it's pregnant because I think I'm pregnant? She's like, well, if you're pregnant, you should probably take a test. And she was like, well, how do I tell Wade? She said, well, you don't until you take a test. She said, that's how it goes. She's like, yeah, no. And then she goes, tells him immediately, and he's kind of like, oh, shoot, it's been a month. Now she's pregnant, and she went from her stomach went from she had a gastric bypass sleeve or something like that.
Yeah.
So she's smaller. And then she kept walking around with holding her stomach and everything. And her mother was like, I don't understand how she went from one day you're this size. And then the next picture that I see on Facebook, you look like you're 9 months pregnant. She went online and she bought one of those silicone bellies to put on. So now she got a silicone belly on. And the whole time Wade's like, she didn't want me to see her while she was pregnant. He was like, she kept saying she felt uncomfortable. We haven't had sex in 4 or 5 months. He was like, I just don't understand. He said, I just kept myself busy. I'm preoccupied because I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford a child and all of this. And she's saying all this drama has happened with her family back and forth. And then it goes into her cutting a baby. That's my mom. Cutting a baby out of this lady who she befriended because she saw online that she was taking pictures and ready to have a baby and within the next couple of weeks. But first of all, Taylor said that she was going to be due on this date. It got closer to that date, then it was like, oh no, the baby's not ready yet. So the doctors told me, I got to wait for this. And then it was 13 days later. The baby's still not here, and she's supposed to have an appointment but there was a bomb threat at the hospital, so therefore they couldn't do it that day either.
Did she do that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure she did because they said it was a man that called, but I don't know. I guess you can change your voice on the app. It don't take much to do that. And then 2 days after that, she cut this lady. But the worst thing is that her 2-year-old daughter, Reagan's 2-year-old daughter, was in the room the entire time, in the bedroom, heard everything that was happening, was freaking out. So how Reagan's mother ends up finding out was that her husband was like, hey, me and Reagan were texting back and forth. She stopped answering me. I called her. She hasn't answered the phone. And he was like, can you just pop over there and make sure she's okay? Like, I know she's due any day. And the mother goes there. She said, I see a little bit of droplets of like blood. She was like, but I just thought it was like the dog cut itself or maybe dragged something up to the house or whatever. She said, then I opened the door and I looked and I saw a bloody footprint. And she said, I just closed the door back and was like, no. And then she was like, but if something happened to Reagan, my granddaughter is also in there. She was like, so I have to go in there. She went into the room, and then when she walks in, Reagan, they said there's blood everywhere. But Reagan is laying on her stomach. So she's calling 911, saying everything that's happening, screaming, and then she runs back out the house. But she's like, I have to get my granddaughter. Her husband, Reagan's dad, pulls up, and she's like, don't go in there. And he's like, I had to see for myself. And he got in there, and he said he sobbed, and then was like, I got to get my granddaughter. And then he was like, but I couldn't step over her body in order to go to the room to get my granddaughter. So their best friend who lived down the street ended up showing up, and he was like, yeah, I'll go and do it. And he said he stepped across Reagan's body, opened up the door, and said the little girl had pulled the blankets up over top of her like she was scared, and then realized who it was, pulled it back down. He said she jumped off the bed and jumped onto me and was crying. He was like, and I was just holding her. And that is the whole gist of that. But then they had to put 2 and 2 together to realize that Taylor had killed her and taken the baby. The baby ended up dying because the baby was out when it wasn't supposed to be out. And Reagan goes, and hopefully she got 2 murder sentences. I can't remember because I was dozing off, I was falling asleep. But I believe she got 2 murder sentences, I believe.
She never needs to see the light of day again.
Ever. You cut a person open to get a child, but you already have 2 kids of your own.
Oh, you didn't mention that part.
Yeah. Well, no, because that part is just something like, yeah, she already had kids. She only, like, one of them we saw all the time, and the other one we never even saw. And then it was that she'd already had a hysterectomy. So it's like, there's no way. And she's putting all this stuff on Facebook. And the doctor's office that she used to go to when she lived in like Arkansas or whatever, they were like, we see this, but we can't say anything because of HIPAA laws. We can't say that hoe ain't pregnant. We can't say that. It's HIPAA laws. We're not allowed to say. But his mom called the hospital and was like, hey, we got this ultrasound, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, we don't give gender reveal information out. She was like, oh, so y'all don't give the gender reveal stuff? And they was like, yeah. And it was like, well, can you tell us the name? And when they said the name, they said, yeah, we can't give any information about that person, but maybe you should trust your gut.
That's all they could say.
That's all they could say. I mean, that's not violating no HIPAA laws. I understand.
No. If your gut is telling you this, and it's almost like they have a Hippocratic oath, you know, but at the same time, it's like, I want to make sure, because it's a catch-22. You can't say anything, but if you were able to say something, this woman could still be alive.
Yeah, this woman and her child could still be alive.
It's just right. Exactly. So it's just like, what's right? You know, what's the right thing to do? And of course, they can't say anything because then the woman could sue and, you know, it's all of that. But if only there was like, okay, but this is, if a person is lying about being pregnant, they're going to get a baby somehow. So there's a potential crime at stake.
Mm-hmm.
And based on that, is there a way that a HIPAA law could be like, at least go to a police officer? Not saying you got to go to the family if they answer, ask questions or anything, but like, who can you turn to, or who can handle situations like that? Because now, the other thing is 99.9% of the time, the doctor's clinic wouldn't even know that she's going around saying that. She is literally probably still Facebook friends with her her clinic that she
Facebook friends with the people from Arkansas when she moved to Texas. And it's like, but everybody knows everybody in Arkansas. So it's
that's
like,
the
oh, you
point
said
that I'm
I'm
trying to
right?
say. Is like she didn't think anything through. It's like the dumbest plan ever, because you're talking about something knowing that there's a whole group of people who are going to see it. You didn't even block them.
No.
So a whole group of people are going to see it and be like, wait, that can't happen. She had a hysterectomy. So how is she saying she's pregnant? Why is she lying to these people? Any of those people could have gone on her Facebook and just said, you're lying. You can't be pregnant. Didn't you have a hysterectomy? Like, they're friends.
Yeah.
People
That's
that
what I'm
she
saying.
knew.
The friends of the
Not
friends of the
even
people. That's how it ended up
not
coming out.
even the people who are in the clinic that have HIPAA, but if somebody I knew was like, oh, I'm pregnant. And I was like, wait a minute, you said that. So which is true? Is it that you're pregnant now, or that you lied about the hysterectomy before?
See, for me, if I saw that, I'd be like in the comments, so did you not have a hysterectomy?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I would be putting in the comments is,
Yeah.
so which is true? Did you have the hysterectomy, or are you pregnant now? Because you told me back in 1924 that you had the hysterectomy. Oh my God. But anyway, so that's
but that it's so, it is just watching it. It's like I remember hearing the gist of it, but then just watching the documentary and getting the full story, then it was like, that's right, she did cut that baby from that lady. And it's not like she went to a hospital and stole a baby.
Right.
You went and you cut this lady open. You looked up how to do a C-section because you're a doctor now, apparently.
In your mind.
Google University. You're a doctor now,
and you don't even know that, you don't even realize that shows up when somebody is trying to get you for a case. They're going to look at your Google history.
Yeah.
They're even now pulling in your Chat GPT history, because people are trying to use that to get around going to Google.
But you know what? They didn't even have to do none of that. They was just like, she ain't had no baby.
I know, that's true. That's true.
And then this lady over here, she's cut open. And the crazy thing is that when the parents of Reagan found out that it was Taylor, when they were, I think it was like a few hours after the stuff had happened, a few hours after they had found Taylor, there was already stuff being put out about a woman having a baby cut out of her. And then they put two and two together. That police station put this police station and put it together and was like, yep, she cut that lady's baby out. And the family found out because somebody had put it online and was like, this ended up happening. Oh no, I think it was a police Facebook page. Woman's baby cut out of womb, blah, 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 blah. Woman dies from baby being cut out of womb. That's how they found out that she didn't have the baby anymore, because they didn't roll her over to see their daughter. They just saw the blood everywhere, and Chapter Postman knew that she was dead. They didn't know that when they didn't roll her over. The police rolled her over and got all that. They didn't tell the parents everything that happened until after. Parents found out on Facebook
that their grandbaby was gone.
Their grandbaby was gone, but they found out on Facebook that the woman cut her daughter open and took the baby. That's what
they didn't put all of that together. They didn't realize anything was related.
Yes, because they thought the mother had said, I don't know if the baby's still alive, but she is pregnant, but she's laying on her stomach dead. So they were like, I don't know. I don't know how long she's been dead. She was pregnant, blah, 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 blah. And they had never told her, I guess, because that's the parents. She's already married, and they would have to tell her husband. And I think her husband might have been working somewhere else. So people are sick. People are sick. The mother of Wade was like, I was just waiting for her to say that she was having a miscarriage or the baby was stillborn or something like that. That's what you should have done. Yeah. Why don't you buy a baby alive? Buy one of those babies that people be playing with on the internet that make it look all real, and just be like, this is my baby that is stillborn. Put it in a little coffin, You could have left it at that. No, you went and you took a baby out of this woman's stomach.
All of it is crazy. All of it is wrong. Even if she did the baby alive, that's still wrong. Because all of it was about keeping this man who doesn't even want you after a month.
That is true, but you know what? That would have been 2 more people would have still been alive.
Right. That's what I'm saying. All of it is so unnecessary to keep a man that does not want you. Like,
exactly.
it's just ridiculous that she went through these types of like whose brain, and that goes back to the show we had not long ago called Diabolical, but whose brain is that diabolical that they would literally have that as being first choice.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, if y'all want to watch it, it is on Netflix and it is called Maternal Instinct. It is a doozy. It will piss you off.
It sounds like it will. It sounds like it'll piss me off just like that girl. What was her name? Mackenzie with the car crash.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Netflix be putting out some documentaries. I'll tell you that. Yeah, Netflix is different putting out a documentary about some just random stuff that happened. Like, I know they're going to have a documentary about they're probably going to have a documentary about the Carmelo Anthony case, as well as the case of the Asian store owner shooting the young, 14-year-old boy.
In the back.
I'm going to make documentaries about those. I'm positive that's going to end up
right.
But yeah, that's what I have. All right, what do you have next, sis?
I have on Apple TV yet again, Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed. Have you heard of that?
Never.
It has our woman in it, Tatiana Maslany.
Tatiana Maslany.
From Orange, from this, our whole. So for those of you who don't know, we came up with the name Sestra-Tainment because of the fact that we watched Tatiana Maslany playing in Orphan Black. And she played 7 different characters in that. So and so it's hard to see her, but let me see if I have this picture that can help people too. Yeah, she played a lot of different things, but here she is for anybody who's looking at it on the camera. So that's
my camera would not be able to do that. Why is my camera? You're garbage.
I don't know, but anyway, so for those of you who are listening, just Google it. So anyway, but she's a phenomenal actress, and on Orange is the New Black, on Orphan Black, she literally played these 7 characters so differently that when you saw them on the screen, you knew exactly who she was. It's oh, she's Carrie. Oh, she's Beth. Oh, she's, Helena. You just knew, Cosima. All of those, you just knew who she was. So anyway, and I still remember the name of the characters.
I know, right? Yeah.
The fact that she played them so well. And this show probably hasn't been on TV for 9 years or more. I don't know.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. So, because when we started this podcast now 5 years ago, I can't even remember, but it wasn't even on TV then. So I say all that to say, she's on here. I love it. So she plays Paula. So that's Paula Saunders. She works at this firm where she does different kinds of marketing or advertising or something like that. So she has 2 coworkers. She has Charlie Hall as Rudy. She has Kiera Hamagami as Jerry. So Rudy and Jerry are her coworkers. She has an ex-husband who is Jake Johnson, and he plays Carl. She has he now has a new wife named Mallory, and that's played by Jessie Hodges. And then she has a daughter too, her name is Hazel, and that's played by Nola Wallace. And because some things happen, there's some cops in here too. So the cop is funny. Dolly DeLeon. She actually plays a detective on here who is absolutely hilarious. And you have John Michael Hill, who is the other detective. So, okay. So the show starts off with her being, now a single mother, with her splitting care between her and her husband. So the husband and the new wife go and take her daughter sometimes, and her by herself with the daughter. So her daughter's with the father, I guess, because she gets her maximum pleasure guaranteed from a particular guy on the internet. And so they are kind of internet performers, let's say. And so he's,
like OnlyFans?
Yes, like OnlyFans. So he's in his bedroom and like, but you just do one-on-one. Like it's not a whole bunch of people watching one person. It's like, I don't know how OnlyFans works, but she ends up paying for an hour of his time or 30 minutes of his time. And then sometimes they would just talk. They would just talk about life and what's going on and things like that. And then other times, you know, it was like she was getting her maximum pleasure. So anyway, what ends up happening is one time while they are having their conversation, somebody busts through his door and they have a mask on, they whatever, and they're just like, you know, choking him out. They're hitting his head on the table. They're beating him up, and she's looking at it all on camera, like, "Oh my god, like stop!" Because she really cares for this guy, and so she's bringing out her phone and she's recording and she's trying to get everything that's going on behind the scenes, and she's like, "Oh my god, like what is happening?" And then like the guy who attacks him like comes up to the screen. He's still got the mask on and he cuts the screen off. And she's like, oh, I have to go to the police. Like I have to tell somebody that I think he might be either dead or beat up or whatever. So she goes to the police. She talks to the detective. Funny little lady. I don't know. She seems like she's like 5 feet tall, but she's hilarious. So anyway, she's just like basically like drinking a coffee, like, yeah, well, this is what's going to happen. I'm already going to tell you it's a scam. He's going to call you tomorrow. He's going to say, hey, look, they're coming after me. They're going to kill me. I need about $5, $10, $15,000 for you to save me. You know, you've been already connecting with him. He feels as though you would be an easy mark. Trust my words. This is going to happen tomorrow. And she's like, but thank you for letting us know. And she's like, no, absolutely not. Like we have a connection. Like, absolutely 100% not. This did not happen. Well, what happens the next day? He calls her and he says, my life is in jeopardy and I need the money. And she was just like, oh, I thought you were real. I thought we really, you know, connected. And I thought that we had something genuine. I talked to you about my daughter. You know, did you even lie when you told me about the blue ribbon that you got as a kid at the you know, state fair, like all this kind of stuff. He's like, no. Like, what are you talking about? I'm just telling you, I'm in dire straits right now. Like, I am going to die. Like, you have to help me. And she's like, okay, whatever, click. So she's done, right? So then she's like, the police aren't going to try to find him because they were proven right. He is a scammer, but I'm ticked. And because I'm ticked, I'm going to find him and I'm going to confront him and whatever. So she proceeds to like, look at what's in the background. What noises has she heard before? Oh, there was an airplane. I do remember hearing an airplane. Like, so he's probably near the airport, like this, that. So she figures out exactly where he lives. So she's like, okay, I'm going with my baseball bat because my daughter plays, you know, softball or whatever, you know. So she's like, I'm going with, no, maybe your daughter plays soccer. I can't remember, but she goes with this bat or some kind of tool. And she's going up to his door and it's open. So she's like, okay, fine. I'm going in there and I'm going to see what happens. Well, let's just say in the first episode, he is no longer with us in the bathtub. And she's just like, wait, he's a scammer. I know he's a scammer, but he really isn't like living. He's gone, you know? And so it becomes this whole thing of now I'm here. Now my fingerprints are here. Now, you know, whatever's going on. And lo and behold, the murderer is on their way into the room.
The room?
Into the room that she's in with him and his dead body. So she hears the murderer coming up the steps. So she's like, oh my God. So she proceeds to go into a closet in a bedroom or whatever. And in the process of that, forgets her phone volume is up. So while the murderer is in there getting ready to chop the body into a whole bunch of tiny little pieces to get rid of it, her phone goes off. And they come after her. And thankfully, there was this little window that she could go through to get out. But he's grabbing at her legs. He's trying to get her because he knows that she's in there and he comes after her. And she does get out. But that's when the drama ensues because he knows that there's somebody who knows that the OnlyFans guy has passed. Not only that, but did she see him? He doesn't know.
Oh, yeah.
He just knows that because her phone went off, she ran out, but was she looking at him? Did she see him? So then it becomes this whole storyline of not only what happened with that, but what's going on with her husband and her keeping custody of her daughter because now police have questions. And if police have questions about somebody who was murdered and the husband gets pulled in to find out what kind of person is she? What of this? What of that? Because she's the one that came to us and told us that she was talking to this OnlyFans guy. And then lo and behold, after she feels as though he took advantage of her and was trying to take money from her, now he miraculously, mysteriously ends up dead. We got some questions. So now the husband is like, I need full custody. I need to take, and of course she's like, no, I'm the mother. You can't. Well, we're moving to another state. No, you can't. So there's this fight that's going on. It's her trying to save her life because is somebody trying to find her because of the fact that they know that she was there and potentially is the person who could identify them. You have that. Then she's like dealing with this. It's all these layers to it, which I love, is that she loves doing a bunch of layers when she does something, but it's so much that's going on with it. And I'm here for it. It's another show that comes on every Wednesday. And so now I was watching Widow's Bay first, but by Thursday I was watching this one. So yes, so that's kind of how it is right now.
I was thinking that like if she, okay, for the safety of your child, let your husband take the baby on somewhere to another state.
Yeah,
when you clear everything up, then you can go and tell your husband, look, okay, I was doing this little OnlyFans thing. I did have a little side piece, okay? But I love you and I love our child. Let's make it work. Somebody else killed this man. Like well, after everything's all cleared up, you be free, because now it's like if you did happen to see, if the person saw your face and you happen to see their face, they're going to come after you. And the one person that they're probably going to take from you is going to be your child.
It's interesting because he didn't see her face.
Okay.
You do know that. All that you know, okay, so he didn't see her face. You know because you're watching that she didn't see his face, but he doesn't know that she didn't see his face. So then it becomes him trying to figure out who she is and her maybe thinking she got away, like that I got away well enough that this person will never find me. So therefore, she's not really as worried about her daughter until much later into the season, and she finds that part out from her husband. Because her husband, the easiest way to describe that is her husband, because of the fact that they have this custody dispute, and they're pretty amicable typically, but the new wife is pushing things, right? So she hired the private investigator, not the husband, the ex-husband. So therefore, the private investigator is like, yeah, she must be in a new relationship because some guy was in her house. He was sitting on her couch. He was, eating stuff out of her refrigerator. He's roaming around. So when the husband goes to take the daughter's favorite teddy bear back, or bunny rabbit or whatever back, she left it. She won't be able to sleep without it. And so she was like, oh, thank you. And then he was acting all weird. And she was like, why are you acting weird? And he was like, well, I guess you could have said that you had a boyfriend. Like, I would like to know that somebody is around my daughter. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, the man who was in your house and roaming around and looking at things and in the window. We have a private investigator. And she was like, wait, you have a private investigator? I didn't know. And what are you talking about? I know man has a key to my house. But then she was like, I can't tell him that because now he'll really go ballistic and take my daughter, because I'd rather he think I'm a liar and think that I have a boyfriend than him to think that a murderer is trying to kill me.
But your child's not safe. I don't understand.
No. And that's the thing, because when that happened, she was sending her daughter off to a sleepover. So her daughter wouldn't be there. So I think she's more like, let me get my daughter out the house a different way than a way in which my husband will take my daughter from me forever. So anyway, it's a weird, you have to watch it. It's weird. Am I saying she did it the right way? No, I'm not saying that. But I think that she understands that the new wife is conniving a little bit, and maybe such that if I give them an inch, his new wife, who's an attorney, is gonna probably want to take a mile.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's where I think she's just like, I cannot, I am a person who is barely making ends meet in an apartment that I'm barely able to afford. Like, everything is barely for her, and they're living in the lap of luxury. So she's just like, I got to keep proving that I'm worthy to be here with my daughter. So it's good though. It's good. It's got a lot of, it's got some funny moments in there too. So it's not all like just crazy drama and
It's like
death and
suspense.
stuff. The cops crack me up. Like, for example, there was a cat that was at the guy's house when he died, and guy was getting ready to get all chopped up. So the cat had walked through some of the blood and walked up to this lady's house. And the lady was like, I can't take care of it. Do you want it, cop? And the cop's like, oh, sure, I'll take the cat and we'll take good care of him. And I've got to think of a name for the cat. I think I'll keep it for myself. She immediately goes to the shelter. And it's like,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
cat. Like, this is not happening, right? But then her male partner, black guy, he was like, I went back to the shelter and got the cat. And she was like, what? You got the cat? Like, when do you have time to take care of a cat? And then she later makes a joke and says, you might as well call her Stella. And he was like, that's so foul. And because you don't know why she said Stella. And he was like, that's so foul. And she was like, well, I mean, you already wake up in the middle of the night yelling her name because she left you. So you might as well have something that will at least land on top of you when you call for it.
That's foul.
At the time they were getting ready to walk into a dangerous situation, he was like, you go first. I got your back.
Yeah,
But it was
right.
like, I really don't. But yeah, you go first. I absolutely have your back, because, but he was just like, I can't believe you said it. But she was just like, oh, I'm not. Like, it's like that kind of stuff. So it's very comical. So anyway, was there anything else and that again is Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed on Apple TV. So was there anything else that you had, sis?
Yeah, let me go over this really quick. So I watched the Earth, Wind, and Fire documentary that was on HBO Max.
I didn't know there was one. I love that. Okay,
So
I gotta
good.
watch it. Okay.
So good. Okay, first of all right, so you got Maurice White. So he is the lead singer of Earth, Wind, and Fire. He's one to do like cul-de-sac and Little Fro. Right?
Yeah.
So it talks about him. Apparently his mother had him and then had him stay with his aunt, and then she went and had another family with other children and everything, and then she comes and gets him later on. So he has like this kind of disdain for women to where he's like, he has a hard time with love and he has a hard time with women. So therefore he's like, he has a woman who's his partner for life. He's like, but we're not getting married. I don't want to get married. He was like, but also, like, just know that I love you, but, I might be outside too.
He has commitment issues because he did not have commitment.
Yes, correct. So it goes into him being with his he meets his siblings, and his siblings being like, yeah, we thought he was a myth. We didn't know that he was actually like a real kid. We thought it was just like, they're little, so they're just like, yeah, we just heard about this kid being our brother, but we didn't know who he was until he actually came to live with us. So once he came to live with them, he was kind of distant. We always loved music, and then he ended up going into being in a band called, oh my goodness, what was the name of the band? Hold on, I have it. He did music with the Pharaohs. So it was a group called the Pharaohs, and he was the drummer. And that was with Chess Records. So I don't know if you know Chess Records. It was the one that had Etta James, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, and Chuck Berry.
Gotcha.
So that record company, he was actually with them, and he played with some of them. But he was the drummer, and when you see him, they show videos of him, and he never wanted to be in the front. So he was like playing the drums, but his cymbal is sitting like right here. So you can't see his face. So it's like literally he's playing the drums, and all you see is like the sticks, but you can't see his face.
Gotcha.
So then from there, once he got bigger into that, he left the Pharaohs and then ended up going to another group, which was, oh my God, what was that man's name? Hold on, I have it. Give me 2 seconds. He ended up going and being with the Ramsey Lewis Trio. Was who he ended up being with after he left Chess Records. It was 1966. He left Chess Records and went with the Ramsey Lewis Trio, and he was the drummer for them as well. So as he's in that, then he's starting to get to know different music. He's starting to see different people, and he ends up being he ends up learning how to play the kalimba, which is like the little piano. It's like a piano. It's like this that you use your fingers. It's like little metal tips on it. So he ended up using that as being the drummer. So he's drumming, and then they give him the little time. So then it's like a break, and then he's playing that. So he brings kalimba into music, and then from there, that's when he decides to do Earth, Wind, and Fire. Creates Earth, Wind, and Fire, becomes a great band, but with Earth, Wind, and Fire, he wants a group to be with him because he's like, we need this, we need that, blah, 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 blah. So his brother, Maurice's brother is Ferdine, which everybody know Verdine, the guy with the hair with the big mouth and the beautiful hair. Yes. Got the silk press. But he had him and some other people, but he got the Phoenix horns, which was like some horn players to be in the background. And so ended up being 9 people total for Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I don't know how they made any money or if they made any money, because how do you pay that people?
Well, that's the thing. Maurice made all the money because Maurice was doing all of this stuff and putting out all of this stuff. Maurice was making the money before. He was with Chess Records. He was with the Ramsey Lewis band, the Ramsey Lewis trio. So he had been making money. So he ended up having a building that was different recording studios. It was kind of like a workspace. So here I have a recording studio, here I have a recording studio, but there's an art studio, and then there's this studio, and there's this over here, and there's businesses up here. So he had one of those. So when he was making Earth, Wind, and Fire, they were using that studio. So he had his hands in a lot of stuff. Now, as he starts to make Earth, Wind, and Fire, they are learning how, like, okay, what is this kind of music that we want to do? So it was like the horns and everything, boom, we put it all out. Then as times go, now it's like, okay, now it's disco is taking over. It's the 70s, it's disco time. So now they have to do more of a disco kind of song, but it's still got the horns and everything. And then every time that the generations would change, the music would change. Now, as they got older and older and kept going, it was like, I'm gonna think it was like the 80s. They are, they've been selling out tours and everything. They are everywhere. They're getting awards. They're just like everything. But then some of the guys was like, yeah, I got a check. And for us being on tour and selling records, I got a $2,500 check. I said, well, I don't know where the rest of my money went. So all of them were now starting to get pissed off about the money. Now, Maurice holding on to all the money because I guess he's robbing Peter to pay Paul to pay for all his other unsuccessful businesses that he has. Now he just one day decides and says, hey, y'all, we're going to have a meeting. He was just like, yeah, so I just want to let y'all know I'm about to go solo. And they were like, what? He was like, yeah, so effective immediately today, I'm going solo, blah, 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 blah. And this was after they put out, this is when the late 80s going into the 90s where there was starting to be more electronic type pads of doing music and things like that, not as much instrumentation. When all of that started and the album flopped. And that's when he was like, I want to do my own thing. So, y'all, I don't really care about what y'all do, but I'm going my own way. And his albums all flopped. Like he had an album where he redid some songs that have already been done, and it sounded exactly like the original song, but it's just your voice. Like you didn't
was it Earth, Wind, and Fire songs, or was it just somebody else?
It was like, I don't know, Singing in the Rain or something like that.
Like a Frank Sinatra song. He just redid.
It was just, I can't remember what song it was, but whatever song it was that he did, it was just, he just sang it exactly how the other person sung it. But it's just his voice. You didn't try to change it up any. The music in the back, like your music for it all still sounds the same. You didn't put much effort into this, but yeah, hey, it's cool. Whatever you want to do. So then after that, I think it was, I don't know if it was his grandson or somebody Oh, I know what it was. They decided that they wanted to get back together and try to do. They were like, all right, come on, let's get back together. Let's try to do some tours. We need some more money. They were like, we have arenas. We put our money up to get these arenas. They have 25,000 seats. They sold 1,200 tickets.
What?
Yeah. Some of them, they said they lost their money because they couldn't even, like, people didn't even want to see them at all. And they was like, and we are the band that we're singing, and all you hear is people in the background talking because we're the openers. We're that band now. And they said that it wasn't until rappers started to take samples from their music, that's when they said that we've got our second coming. It was like, so now not only do we have our money from before, but now these rappers are making like samples with our songs, and now the younger generation are listening to our albums. He was like, so if it wasn't for that, then we would have never gotten back together. Like it would have never worked out. And literally, they could tell. They said that once they got back together and people were starting to sample their music, and they're going to they're getting awards with some of the rappers or some of the singers who have, used their music.
Yeah.
Maurice starts to do interviews, and he takes his hand. They said that he'll be talking or whatever, and he'll take his hand and then he'll sit on it. So his sister was like, she saw the interview and she was like, what is he hiding from me? He's hiding something from me. I don't know what that is, but he's hiding something from me. He had Parkinson's. So when he felt his hand start to shake, he would sit on his hand. So there would be a lot of times you would see him do interviews, or you see him talking to people, and he would do his hand like this, or he would sit on his hand. So then that way it's not shaking. And that's actually what ended up taking his life, was Parkinson's. But the whole documentary from beginning to end was amazing when you see everything that was put into it. First of all, didn't know it was 9 members. Wasn't even thinking about that, but it's like, I guess that's like the Roots band right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I probably would have thought 6. I don't know if I would have thought 9.
9, yeah.
Did they talk about, was Philip Berry with, what's his name, Philip the whole time, or did he come later?
Philip was with them the entire time.
Okay, from the beginning.
He just was not, he was the one who wanted to change some of the sound, and Maurice was like, no. Like, oh, hey, man, that's great. I love how you did that song. Now back to the way that I did it. And Maurice, and he was just like, yeah, I was just trying to bring a new kind of vibe in and, to work things out. He was like, making songs about this. Oh, and then they talk about the song Reasons. The Reasons, and it was another song. It was 2 songs that they talk about, but the song that you don't like this, they said the song that you play at the wedding should not be played. I think it was Reasons, and Reasons should not be played at the wedding because it's actually a song about one of them sleeping with somebody else's wife. Yeah, it was like, I don't know. They were like, if you played at your wedding, I'm sorry, you should have listened to the lyrics. But yeah, it's basically,
get through the words now.
Yeah. It's like holding your body just for one night. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like all the reasons start to fade and all of that. Yeah. So I have to look at the lyrics again. Because, it's so high pitched. Sometimes you're trying to figure out what is he saying.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'll say about Earth, Wind, and Fire. You don't always know the words.
No, I don't know the words to a lot of songs. I do know that the reason that they did the song September, the 21st night, September, it was actually Maurice's son's birthday.
I knew that it had to do with somebody in his family.
Yeah. It was his son's birthday.
Okay, got it.
Because he was excited to have a son, but he was never around him. But then he had Papa was a Rolling Stone. Because Papa had kids everywhere.
It's interesting too, because as somebody outside looking in on Maurice White, he just seemed like the quiet guy who got the band together, and you never really heard or saw much about him. They were coming together. But now hearing this, I'm like, Oh, he was a trip, but you didn't get that from.
But this is the thing. He was a ladies' man around certain people. So it was like he has a baby with like his costume director. So it was like different stuff. But they was like he was not good with money. So it was like his costume director needed $10,000 for their costumes. Boom, here's $10,000. Go ahead. And then it was like, oh, I need an extra 5,000 more because I need this. And it was like, okay, boom, this is what you need. And then they were taking after P-Funk as how P-Funk was doing everything like kind of psychedelic with all of the spaceships and everything. So that's what they wanted to do. They did the Pharaoh thing. They did the space thing. And it was like, oh, this is what's in. This is what's the good thing. And that's the things that they took in to do their big elaborate stage things, but you're paying 9 people, plus you're paying all of the roadies, you're paying all of the people who are doing, I don't know, dance choreography and everything with all your stuff.
Mm-hmm. You need security for different venues. Yeah, the venue itself.
Yeah, so it was like nobody was making any money.
And I think that's probably why, like when I saw Earth, Wind, and Fire, it was all like old school music festivals, basically. And so I could see where that kind of is a good sweet spot for them, because it's like, okay, there's the nostalgia of people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, probably 80s that are like, oh, the 70s and that music that we would listen to, and it's so great. And then you might have some younger people who watch Trolls and then they know the song.
Yeah. That's what they were saying. Trolls, they was like, thank God for Trolls, because yeah, we got some good money off of that movie and this movie and this rapper and this singer. And
did Diddy sample them? Did they thank Diddy? Like, oh gosh, did Diddy have a sample with them? I can't remember.
I think it was Dr. Dre.
Oh, Dr.
I think
Dre.
Dr. Dre was the first one to use some of their samples. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was awesome. And they do show like the lyrics to the songs, and yeah, like the I don't know. I mean, I knew almost every song that they played on the documentary, except for the newer song where they looked like they were in Total Recall, and you're wearing all metal things. And I don't know, Geordie LaForge might have been in the music video. I don't know, but it was not Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'll tell you that.
All right.
But that's what it is. Earth, Wind, and Fire documentary on HBO. Sorry, I had to pick that out.
So on that note, thank you all so much for listening to Sestra-Tainment. Let's see if the music will play. It looks like it will. So we will talk to you next time. Bye.